And these gardens here were probably our first ones, and they do so well.
And you built this by hand.
I did.
This is
The kids helped. Speaking of growing, this is our tree of liberty. You'll notice the nooses on it. We refresh it with the blood of chickens from time to time. The chickens will be like, whoa, our house is gone. What am I gonna do? And then they'll go sit over there and get eaten by foxes.
Let's get a close-up of this. See what's rocking in here. This is your design. And we got some
Yeah,
bunnies
so this
in
is,
there.
well, yes.
Some meat rabbits.
This is like the first chicken coop we built. We were, aspiring, and we wanted something mobile that we could put anywhere. And so this is the storage part on the back. These ones are really, really sweet. Cottonwood trees, those are a joy too. They just, So I'm gonna plant asparagus at some point along the whole thing.
Yes!
Because the roots can go down 40 feet, right?
I love the way my pee smells when I eat asparagus.
Don't you breathe deeply? Like,
Yeah, I do. I just did it.
so.
Hey guys, I'm here with my brother in Christ, Caleb Lang, and we're at his farm, and I'm really excited to show you guys all of the different things that he has to offer, all of the different projects he has up in the air. So I introduce to you Caleb.
So I think this is interesting, and it kind of like speaks to the whole idea of the farm.
Sure.
Right. So Proverbs 14:4 talks about he who has oxen, his crib is messy, and if your crib is neat, then you probably don't have any oxen.
Yeah.
And so we have such an ongoing disaster around here that this verse reminds me to always be grateful that I have a crib full of oxen.
Hallelujah.
And there's a lot of strength in that.
Yeah, man.
So that's our farm, Little Oxen Farm, and that's what we kind of founded on that verse.
Little Oxen Farm, behold. Little ones running around, and I just love it. I'm drinking it all in. So you guys got some chores going on here.
Yeah.
That's good to see.
Yeah.
Young people getting their hands dirty. Mucking looks like, maybe making some soil, Caleb?
Yeah, so one thing we fight with around here is the soil is really tight, really fine grained. So water getting through it, it doesn't get through it. So this planter, we just put flowers in it for prettiness.
Nice.
And it'll rain and water will sit on top of that until algae grows in it because water just won't go through. So I'm using some nice store-bought stuff to try to amend the soil because that sat behind the woodshed for 3 years.
Yeah.
And it was going to waste, so.
Use it, yeah, gotcha. Well, that's awesome. I'm reading a little bit about soil propagation and difference between loamy, clay, and sand, so it's coming to life.
It's huge. Really, I mean, so the planters never do well because one of the things in soil that you have to focus on is you have to focus on the microbes in the soil, right? Just like our gut health coming through there. If the soil has a lot of bacteria, then the plants are going to do well.
Hallelujah.
So anyway, let's go look at stuff.
The mycelium network, the microbiome network.
Yeah, and
Chickens pooping everywhere, grass growing.
And the rootlets on plants have those little orifices that uptake all these vitamins that are synthesized through that. So when we first started, we were just looking at like the NPK, right? The nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium of the soil because that's what farmers look at. Let's add that, and that's why you get the 10-10-10 because it's, an equal distribution of those three.
Right.
And these gardens here were probably our first ones, and they do so well. Now, we haven't tilled them in because the frost will kill everything here until about Memorial Day.
Really?
Yeah.
By the way, we're in upstate New York.
Right. Good, nailed it. And so each kid, the way we started this when we had 6 kids, and so each kid got their own, and I wanted them to experiment and figure out how to lay out a garden, how to amend the soil, how to do all this stuff. So it's funny because this whole farm's an experiment on like getting kids to take ownership of something. So each kid one has chickens, one has cows, one has pigs, one has goats, one has sheep, one has rabbits. And so each kid like amends their bed with their manure and their compost.
Dude, I love that.
And it's so funny because they'll be like at the table and like Claire will come out with her bucket of rabbit manure and put it in her garden and be like this. And it'll be dinner time. We're like, I saw you over there putting manure in your bed. What do you think's gonna happen? And she's like smug about it. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So like what they're learning through this was great. And then with this bigger one, what we were trying to do is we're trying to do like a no-till deep bed garden.
Yeah, I like that. With the wood chips, is it that wood
Yeah,
chips you got?
we put in tons of wood chips, and what that did is it sucked all the nitrogen out of the soil to break the wood chips down,
Oh,
and that's what it does.
okay.
But it doesn't, you don't lose it. It just, when they decompose, then it puts it back into the soil. So the
Is
first,
that what you started with on these raised beds? Did you start with a mulch layer?
we started with, so leaves from all the maple trees. We just loaded these things full of leaves.
Nice.
And then I put soil, and then we put manure from cleaning out the barn, and then we put more soil, and we just did that and left it.
I call that rocket fuel.
Yeah,
Just making, like getting it back to the way that nature cycles it.
yeah,
Using poop is very important. And one of the people that have really poured into me as far as his experiences with basically pooping and peeing all over his land and experiencing how good it is for growth
Yeah.
of whatever it is you're trying to grow.
Okay, so speaking of growing, this is our tree of liberty. You'll notice the nooses on it. We refresh it with the blood of chickens from time to time.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah,
I'm trying to, like, one of my biggest goals in life right now is to just re-familiarize people with the skills of old, how things happened, great grandparents, you know, having to dispatch chickens for dinner. It's like this day and age, our generation, they're not sensitized at all to violence or necessity or, you know, getting their hands dirty for God's sakes or touching poop and putting it in the food that they're growing.
right.
I love that you're doing that. And
It's-
you have 7 children?
8.
8 children.
Yeah. So, so, but the thing is, one of the things I do is my daughter, she loves the chickens, and she hatches. So we got her, you know, a hatchery thing for her birthday, and so she'll hatch, you know, 40 eggs at a time, and we'll have 50% of them roosters and 50% hens. Then we'll have, you know, 40 roosters running around here. Well, then I'm not going to pay money to try to feed 40 roosters when I get nothing out of it.
Right.
So then I got to put my foot down and say, no, you can have a ratio of this. And then her little YouTube channel, they all pop up and they say, that seems unreasonable. You should have 1 rooster for 8 hens, not 1 rooster for 20. I'm like, well, you pay for it then. Like, I don't care.
Does she do pretty good on her YouTube channel?
She started it recently, and one of the things that we're working out here is figuring out when a kid can have technology kind of like freely. And so she would argue that she would do a lot better if we just gave her a phone and all the equipment she needed to do whatever she wanted with.
And then you have to trust essentially at that point that she's going to self-govern
Right,
herself
the
away
self-government
from the
is
atrocities.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so with the time we give her, she does well.
Good.
She does it, yeah. So, and it's funny because she's got some rabid followers. And that's, you know, in the social media world where you have those followers who just kind of like are part of it. They just plug in and they're always just
Yeah.
there commenting and part of the whole thing. So,
Super supportive.
yeah.
What's her YouTube channel?
She's got I think it's called We the Chickens.
We the Chickens on YouTube. You guys go ahead, feel free to comment that down below in support. That is Caleb's daughter's YouTube channel that is about chickens, so check that out.
This is a fight here. So chickens are dumb. You probably know this. But so in these mobile chicken houses over here, if you move them far, the chickens will be lost. So we had them up there because all winter long we put them in the garden so they can poop and pee and scratch around and eat everything all winter long. And then we move them out in the spring before we plant because we don't want them to eat our food.
Right.
So if you just take the coop and you move it across the yard and put it over there, the chickens will be like, whoa, our house is gone. What am I going to do? And then they'll go sit over there and get eaten by foxes. That's what they do. So we have to very slowly, like every day, move it, you know, this far, whatever this is, 100 feet or something. And so the chickens can kind of follow along. So this ended up being the compost bucket that got dumped in the middle of the yard.
How do you move your coop?
So the coop, if the ground is solid, you can pull it with the little lawnmower, John Deere lawnmower thing. But then we also use this tractor here for a lot.
Gotcha. That looks good. Mobile chicken coop.
This is so this little triangular coop here. This is I like this design. I've looked at a lot of designs, but I like this one because it's mine. And
Hallelujah.
it's pretty similar to a lot you'll see. But this is what we use for our pasture-raised chickens. And we've got 100 chicks started back there. And so they're all in one. But as they get bigger, probably next week or so, we'll split them up and put 30 in each of these.
Let's get a close-up of this. See what's rocking in here. This is your design. And we got some
Yeah,
bunnies
so this
in
is,
there.
well, yes.
Some meat rabbits?
Mm-hmm.
Or some pet rabbits?
They're pets. I mean, Claire, do you want to come explain your rabbit? She wants to build a rabbit sanctuary. Have you? You want to explain what you're doing with your rabbits?
Oh, that's a big rabbit. What's his name?
Oh my gosh.
That's the mom of the babies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they're. Oh, you got it shut.
Just raising them just to hang out and
Yeah,
kind of be like pets.
I like to snuggle with them.
They're so cute.
Brings you a lot of
so-
comfort.
Yeah, and then you hop away, Dad, if you.
Oh, she will. No, she got her babies.
That's where they get the name jackalope from right there. Just put some antlers on her.
She is so big.
Yeah.
That's so
I love that.
Anyway, so when this has chicks in it,
We uncovered it and it was like,
I know.
don't look in there. It's rabbits.
Look how beautiful that one is. What's the species of this black and amber one?
That's probably that's a Moran. So we were just discussing. They're supposed to be black Morans, but I think they're copper Morans. Black copper Morans. Yeah.
It's got that turquoise flare on her feathers.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
I like that. So we got another chicken coop over here.
Yeah.
Another couple.
Yeah. So that one, the key with the pasture-raised chickens was to make them light enough that my wife could pull them. Because the pasture-raised birds are my wife's thing.
Gotcha.
So when she's got 3, she comes out twice a day. She fills the 5-gallon buckets, hang off the end for water. And there's a feeder inside, so she moves that twice a day, and that's her workout because she has to haul the water out to
yeah.
wherever they are.
Which is at least from the house
From
to where
the house,
it is now.
well, usually they're like out somewhere out there.
Oh, so that is a
Yeah.
good workout. That's
Yeah,
getting the quads and the hamstrings working, the core's tight.
Yeah, so this is like the first chicken coop we built. We were, aspiring, and we wanted something mobile that we could put anywhere. And so this is the storage part on the back.
Nice.
Here.
I love that.
And we wanted a big door you could get everything in and out of. And so it stores 10 bags of feed, and there's some other stuff up here too. But
Enough for maybe a week or a month.
how long, Em?
They probably go through 1 50-pound bag a week
Yeah, so a lot of weeks.
while free ranging. If they were cooped in a fence, they'd need more.
Yeah.
They can scavenge for a lot of what they have.
Heck yeah. I love that you're becoming a chicken whisperer.
And then this is where you collect the eggs. And we wanted something that you could get at from the outside.
Oh, you got the automatic door with the solar. That's sweet.
We did. That's been amazing. That door right there.
Yeah, and it's just like an all-in-one, basically like a traveling, touring chicken show.
Yeah. I've thought about putting gutters up under it to catch water and do, rainwater collection, but there's enough water around here. The thing we fight all the time is just water. So there's enough puddles, and this is, oh wow, the roosting bars are everywhere. It's a tornado in there. I don't
Having
know.
fun? Too much fun in there? Throwing the bars around.
Anyway, so that's so they can get some fun ventilation here and there.
Look at these free-range birds just standing tall. There's your rooster.
Yep. He's the old rooster.
Yeah, he's got a big puffy chest.
Yep, he's proud.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
What are these white structures over
Oh
here?
my goodness, this is a Facebook Marketplace steal. So one of the main things you want if you have a little farm is you want a lot of little structures for little animals. We have a lot of little animals. And like goats don't like to be in the rain. Dogs don't like to be in the rain. Sheep are okay in the rain, but they do prefer shelter. Donkeys like to be in some sort of shelter. So that's always the thing. My wife's always asking me to build another shelter. So I just keep building barns. Like I've got barns built all over the place.
I see that.
And
Beautiful.
and so when you can get something like this on Facebook for 50 bucks, you go and get a bunch.
I'm just now seeing you've got a lot of livestock. You've got probably what I can see, maybe 50 to 100 chickens. I'm seeing goats. You mentioned sheep. There's mules out there. I'm excited for this tour, man. This is awesome.
So this is, some of them, the boys are working on pressure washing them because they need a little work. And then they're also going to learn how to repair fiberglass because some of them are a little bit damaged.
Yeah, these are like,
But
reminds me of dog coops.
yeah, but you can just pick them up easy, and I mean they're pretty light, and you can go throw them out in a pasture. And
Yeah, like you said, just get animals out of the rain real easy.
right,
Nice and light.
goats are finicky because too they'll get like a cold if they get wet,
Yep.
and then they get this respiratory thing, and
Then they start going.
you know, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
you've got goats.
You
Now
got
you-
some wool going.
Oh, let's not talk about the wool.
All right, we won't talk about the
That's-
wool.
See my lovely wife.
Yeah. Hello, Mrs. Lang.
She loves the sheep, and this was a shearing effort that we do, and it's always more of a wrestling match than a shearing effort.
Oh, yeah. So you guys are soaking it in the process right
No,
now?
we're just it's too full of briars and stuff to we'd have to card it forever, and then it would be, it just wouldn't be worth it. So we're probably going to use this for mulch because it makes a great mulch around like fruit trees and stuff.
You know what I thought of?
What?
Insulation. You have to
Yeah,
find a way to dry it out.
Yeah.
But they've industrialized wool for insulation instead of like the fiberglass or the spray foam.
Right. That
Blow
makes
in.
sense. As long as I guess if you could get it to not like fall down and compact at the bottom and leave a big air gap at the top.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They got it in the sheets.
Really?
Yeah. So that's what her and I were talking about doing because we're in the process of acquiring a farm.
Nice.
So there's just so many things. It's like I'm looking into our future.
Yeah.
You're kind of setting the tone here. So just be expected to have your phone blow up.
Sure.
Just check your staples out.
Sure. Okay, watch your feet here because this is it rained a bunch last night, and
I got my boots on.
I got my farm flip-flops. I call these are my work flip-flops. I tell the kids all the time, let me go get my work flip-flops on.
Getting the bare feet involved.
Yeah.
Why even put shoes on? Just go barefoot.
I know.
And you built this by hand.
I did.
This is
The
beautiful.
kids helped, and I had a couple friends come here and there and help me like with some of the things, but we bought the rough sawn lumber from an Amish guy.
Yes.
My
Support the Amish folks. They do good work.
design. I'm an engineer by trade, and so I really overbuilt this thing. Like trees will fall on it, and it will just stand here and laugh.
Yeah. And this is good carpentry work as well. Everything seems to be level. This is a beautiful building.
We tried. And so
You guys got a good teacher.
this is primarily goats. We just had. Oh, well, we'll talk about goats in a minute, but let's finish the chicken thing. So here's the chicken. What does my wife have? She's got the color rangers, color yield ranger things. Color yield, no rangers.
And these are hens?
These are, well, they'll be hens and roosters, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Because we'll raise them for 12 weeks.
And then
and-
eviscerate them?
Yes.
Gotcha.
And then we'll kill them. So every day, this is their first day out. And so this evening we'll move them ahead, and we'll just move them around and
Let
kind
'em-
of just make circles with them. And
That's
then
so awesome.
they scratch the ground, nourish it with manure
Until they're fat enough.
until they're fat. And it's so important. So we have a lot of people who will do what are called pasture, like raise their own chickens. and they will leave the chickens in one spot for that full time. But if the chickens are not getting fresh grass and fresh vegetation all the time, they're not building up the omega-3s in their bodies, they're not getting all of that additional nutrients, and they're just getting whatever's in the feed, which is grain, and grains are high in omega-6s, and so you have this inflammatory response that the fats in the chickens can elicit. So you really want to make sure that they're getting a lot of fresh grass.
That's a pro tip.
Yeah.
I see you've got some security enforcement over there.
Yeah. He's a farm dog through and through.
What's his name?
Lucas.
Lucas the farm dog. Does he do a lot of barking?
No, not really.
Predators? I mean, does he let you know?
Yeah, if there's a predator, like the other morning we were all eating breakfast and I looked out here and he was just all over the place. And I was like, what's going on? And he had found a raccoon that was curled up against a tree fighting him, so.
Probably would have taken out anything
he
could have.
He was going for chickens.
Yeah.
He was looking for breakfast. So Claire, now we mentioned Claire does the rabbits and Emery does the chickens, and Claire also does the Nigerian dwarf goats.
Sweet. These are what we have.
How many do you have?
Just 2.
Okay.
Oh, beautiful blue eyes. Do you guys utilize milk?
We are, so they have not been, she's milked some of them, and this one is bottle fed, so she'll milk them to get milk for bottle feeding. But Claire really wants to look at goat's milk soap or lotions or things like that.
Heck
so
yeah.
It's future.
It's all the craze right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's so many people that are looking for non-poisonous products like that, especially from homemade local farms.
Yeah. So we've still got, Claire, how many more do we have to birth still?
Just that one.
One more?
How many do they have when they're?
Usually 2, but sometimes they'll have 3 or 2.
Wow.
Yeah, so everybody's had 2. One had 3, but we lost one from that.
Your orchard
Litter.
looks good.
Orchards are a long-term plan too. The raspberries do great here, like really, really great. All the other fruit trees, they're coming. They're coming. It's not one of those things that it's immediate gratification.
Looks like apple, pear, and peach.
Apple, pear, peach, we've got some cherries in there too.
Sweet.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah. Do you want, so let's just trot over here for a minute.
Sure. Everything's natural. I'm really soaking all of this up. The dandelions, the no-till, the free-range animals. I mean, you're really exemplifying permaculture, and I'm really, really pushing that.
So I'm so proud, like this. See this lumber here? So my dad bought a small wood miser. And so these are trees we pulled out of the woods, and we're sawing the lumber and collecting it so that we can build another cow shelter, because we don't have one.
Yes. Maple?
So this is hemlock. Yeah, we found some hemlocks that had come down, and I didn't want them to just rot in the woods. So
Dude, that is phenomenal. You got your 2x4s, it looks like.
yeah, you just kind of cut whatever works. You're just like, I don't know what this log is doing. Let's just. Can you use this? Yeah.
That's the way I like building.
It's not dimensional lumber.
Well, hello, Lucas.
He's
How's
pretty
the shift
friendly.
going, brother?
He's pretty friendly. We'll see.
Oh, yeah, mules, Jessica, see?
These are miniature donkeys. Well, that fence is hot, so.
Is there a difference between
A
mules
mule
and
and a donkey?
Yeah,
Yeah, a mule will be a half between a horse and a donkey.
okay.
And then the donkeys will just be donkeys and the horses will just be horses.
What
This
do
is
you
like
notice?
a Liger version of horse.
Yeah, I love it. What do you notice about the demeanor of donkeys?
These ones are really, really sweet. These are actually, my wife will argue that these are great protectors of the farm. But one of the things you have to watch, if you have something like this in the pasture and the goat's kid out in pasture, the donkeys will try to kill the baby goat because they'll think it's this new sort of threat.
Mm.
They're not familiar with it, and so they'll go after it.
Gotcha. That's good to know.
So they're they're great. It's Penny and Lucy, that's their name.
Penny and Lucy. And I love that you have pines in their
Yeah, that's
run. It's just it's so beautiful. Upstate New York is a lot like northern Michigan, where you've got the pines and
Do you
you've
have
got
the mud
hardwood.
too? Do you have the mud?
There's some mud, and
Sand?
sand. Yeah.
We have such mud. Such a blessing.
Well, just get some big stones, and then you'll
Oh,
be able to build
yeah.
some structure
That's
with your
what we're-
clay.
That's what we're working on. So these are Miles. Miles does the pigs. So out in this pasture here, we have two Berkshire Old Spot cross sows that we keep for breeding.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things in the area is trying to get a really good quality pig is hard, really, really hard. And that's probably one of the main sources of income that we have, is just raising feeder pigs for people. We'll take them to the butcher, and then they pick the cuts of meat, and they go pick up the meat when they're done.
Okay.
But we really want to control the quality of the pigs that we're offering people.
Mm-hmm.
So both of them are pregnant right now. We AI'd them and artificially inseminated, for people who don't know. And that's a whole nother experience. Like, if you've ever felt skeezy, like, just go on the internet and start browsing for a nice boar that you want to go out and, you know.
Just pimp together a
yeah,
little bit.
yeah, you just, it's an experience. Okay.
Did
Dim
you
the lights,
install
though.
that hand pump?
I did.
How far did you have to go?
I'm down 4.5, 5 feet there.
Oh, so just a shallow and you hit it.
Well, so the well, everything runs off of a single shallow well, and it's way over there on the other side of that gate.
Okay.
And we have a pump that pulls from that well, and then from that pump, which is over along the road there, it cuts out into the pastures, over to the barn, and then it shoots it all the way up to the house.
And that's a deeper well.
No, it's all coming from that shallow well over there. It's deeper than 4 or 5 feet. You know,
How
it's
far
like
did you have to
20
go
feet
down?
deep.
25? Oh,
20
wow.
feet deep. Yeah.
So that's pretty much like if you wanted to do that yourself, getting 20 foot down is not that difficult.
It's not difficult, but if you wanted, you could go rent a reasonable excavator and do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would just set your concrete, well casing in and backfill with stone, and you want to seal around the cap properly with the right kind of clay. But yeah, it's not hard.
Yeah. That's going to be one of the big things, being in Michigan surrounded by all that water. It's actually kind of hard sometimes in certain places to find that water table for a fresh well, and I don't think any of us here trusts municipality water, so
That's an easy distribution network there for
yeah, your neighbors poop and pee.
for the government. However you want to, whatever you want to put in it, people just willingly drink it.
So do you have a square on your 80 acres?
It's 43 acres,
Okay.
and it is square.
That's
Yeah.
a blessing.
It is, and we have the best neighbors over here to the west, which border our property all that way, and then this property, which is part of like grandparents and so on. My parents border it to the north, and so they own all of that up until Gaylord Road, and then we have great neighbors over there who farm that over there. So
Surrounded by good, self-sufficient, cup of sugar sharing neighbors.
that's right.
Hallelujah. I love that. That's what we're trying to find.
You kind of have to build that or be that first, I guess. You kind of attract those people.
That's wise.
It's tough to go find them and then be like, I want to join you.
Doesn't really work like that these days, huh?
No, not really. So all of this mess in here, these pastures, this was also, in fact, everything we're standing here, including this pasture, see that young stand of trees there?
Mm-hmm.
Basically everything was that and a little bit bigger.
Oh, wow.
And with my little tractor, I have a backhoe attachment for it. Like, I cleared all of this, and we've been working on that corner over there. And then I had somebody come in and cut fence lines through this. here. So all these fences that run down, that was just the thickest forest with brambles and vines and everything you could imagine. And what happened was we had the emerald ash borer come through, thanks to our friends over in China. And everything in here was ash. In fact, the majority of the trees still standing are still small ash that we didn't take down because it cost more to take them down than I could get for them. But I looked at it and I said, well, in the 50s, I have aerial imagery of this being a profitable bean field. And I'd like to not just waste it as bottomland, like wetlands. So I had them come log it, and I had them cut fence lines through it, and I put animals out here because if all of the ash were gonna die, I could put livestock out here to kind of keep down all the new growth, and I could start turning it back into something usable. So we rotate the animals through. So the pigs, the sheep will rotate through and get the small stuff. The cows will rotate through and get the grass where it's growing. And then we'll follow through with the pigs, and the pigs will just tear everything up. And we'll keep it, I think probably in about 6 more years, we'll get everything in a pretty nice pasture state. But in the meantime, we spend our time either making firewood out of that or burning it. Which is fine because it puts carbon back in the soil, and that's great.
So I call it the sustainable unlimited food loop. And I'm finding out the more that I'm learning is that there's a lot of loops, and they're all sustainable and they can all be unlimited. Really, we are the greatest restriction as far as progress on land and in nature. That's why I really admire everything that you just said. You know, using the livestock for everything that they do just to live their lives, to cultivate the end goal of not wasting land itself. And I see from northern Michigan on 90 all the way pretty much to here and through to Boston, those tree beetles are wrecking the country.
Yeah.
It is absolutely wild how much death and destruction is everywhere you look in the United States of America, and nobody talks about it unless they really know about it. They don't even know about it.
No, I had a guy out here, it cost me $400 because some of those trees, you know, they're dead. The roots die. When the roots die, they just fall over. It cost me $400 because it took out the fence, and the fence was shorting, and you know, he has all the equipment to, and it was box wire, so you know how the box wire works, it just crumples and then it's just, it broke it, and ridiculous. So all these trees, I gotta take them down. The roots need to rot a little bit more before I can just go through and push them over. But it's expensive.
Yeah. You got some pretty mature
Some of
giants
those,
in here.
Yeah, some of those cottonwood trees, those are a joy too. They just, for no reason, a couple years ago, farming is funny, right? It's like this constant cycle of euphoria and like depressive things happen, like one after the other. So we had gotten piglets, Tamsworth, and one of them died, and it was the runt. The farmer gave us the runt. He's like, you can have the runt. I don't really want it, but you can have it. So we're like, oh, we'll take the runt. So the runt died.
Oh.
And so we were burying him, and I was running in and out of the house between meetings because I was working at the time. I was getting paid to work at the time, we'll say that.
Yeah.
And I got off the tractor, finished burying the little pig, ran inside, did my meeting, and the kids are outside banging on the window. And I was like, what? And they're like, the tree fell in your tractor. What? What? And I'm now distracted, so I, mute myself, and I'm like trying to look out the window, like, what's going on? And this stupid cottonwood tree, like this big around, had just, nice day like today, just fallen over on my tractor.
Oh, geez.
It's terrible.
That is so wild.
So frustrating.
I see that you're pruning your fruit trees.
Yes, I'm pruning them.
So do you practice basically the trying to strengthen the roots first and then trying to shape the canopy?
Yeah, that's the idea. But then what we do in the fall, is then we fence in a single strand electric fence all around and let the cows out. And so like you can see over here that the cows will come and scratch their heads on the fruit trees.
Yeah.
And so they prune it in some areas where maybe you were hoping it wouldn't be pruned, and then your wife may feel like they ruined the orchard, and so you know.
I feel you. That's that natural selection going on there.
And I'm like, well, here's how I look at it. If the cows are knocking branches off the trees, those are points of natural weakness in the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore they should come off.
Yep. That's what an engineer would think about that.
The strong stuff will stay, and the cows have taken out the weak spots. The whole tree. Like that peach tree at the end, like that poor thing, that was nice. That was our biggest one.
Oh wow, yeah, that got took too.
Yeah, that was weak.
There's your next structure. Just gather up all this clay on the topsoil.
Well, so I'm gonna dig out along the fence over there, dig that all out, and I'm gonna build a rock wall that goes around that fence.
That'll look nice.
Well, that look nice.
Oh yeah, that would be a lot of work though. How are you gonna do that? Your bucket?
Yeah, rock by rock. I got a grapple on it, and I picked all these things up and put them here. So we found all these rocks in the field when we had it fixed the way we wanted.
Yeah. And that field looked a lot like the stand that you showed us earlier.
That field it looked exactly like that stand over there.
Wow, so this is a lot of work done.
Yeah.
What'd you do with all the stumps?
So that's why that berm along the road over there,
Mm-hmm.
that's raised up, we dug a massive like trench, probably 20 feet by 20 feet. And we just packed it full of stumps and then put the dirt on top. And that way, it'll rot down really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna plant asparagus at some point along the whole thing.
Yes!
Because the roots can go down 40 feet, right?
I love the way my pee smells when I eat asparagus.
Don't you breathe deeply? Like,
Yeah, I do. I just did it.
so, all right, so
had
you
asparagus.
probably know this. What's that chemical that causes that?
I have no idea.
Is it sulforaphane or like some sort of other chemical?
I don't know.
Okay. We should
Matter of
find
fact,
out.
some people tried to convince me that I was crazy.
Why?
Until I met other people that smelled
That
the
smell
same smell.
asparagus pea?
Yeah.
Ah, that's the thing. They don't eat asparagus if they don't know about it.
Some people apparently just don't have it. They can't smell it even though they do eat it.
What? I can smell like barbecue if I eat barbecue. You smell that? Smell the asparagus? I can smell. Wait, what do you, like, yep, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm with you, brother. I know exactly what you're talking about. But I've met some people that are like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean your pee smells different when you eat asparagus? Like they've never heard it before and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. So this was the latest project here. New York State has this burn ban idea where we're not allowed to burn anything between like March and May because we'll set the world on fire. And so as farmers, we have somewhat of a little exemption on it, and we use that extravagantly.
Good. Use that freedom up.
That's right. I might have just made that up too, but we burn. Don't quote me on it. Cut that one out of the YouTube video.
It'll be in the blooper reel.
And so if it's firewood worthy, we just pull it out and throw it over the fence to deal with it later. And then in the meantime, we just dig through here. Trying to get, and some of it is trying to give the animals, we're trying to hurry some of this up because like in there, they're taking care of a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But on the outside where I've got to maintain and mow and do all sorts of things, particularly for fence, and I want to give them enough pasture to graze on.
Target practice?
What, do you think we have guns around here?
Oh, no, never. Not in New York.
No, guns are illegal through and through here. We would never think of having such things.
They do a good job, but it's funny that they're just packed around the hay.
Yeah, they, well, so those ones aren't. Back there. So these are the calves. These are about a year old. We had those last June. And these are Elliot's, there's Elliot.
Hi, Elliot.
Cows are Elliot's thing. So
Yeah.
what's fun is when he has a birthday and you give him a bull for his birthday. Best birthday present ever. You say, here, this is
Heck yeah.
yours. So Ben's out there. Do you have treats with you?
No, but they like grass.
Oh, we'll call him over and feed him some grass. He has a special cow call he gives them, and they love it. They come like, Ben will come running for it.
Oh, you gotta do it.
That's special. I like hearing that special.
Come on, get some grass and call him over.
Sure.
Yes, it is. They all think it is.
Do it as loud as possible.
Yeah, with your chest.
Come on.
Cows.
Oh, put some heart into it.
Come on, cows.
That's good.
No.
Hey, they're coming. Look at them. They're running.
You gotta call Ben.
Oh, Ben.
You let your roar out. I like that.
Cows. It takes them a little while.
Gotta warm up to it.
The trees start going like this.
Yeah, right. Stand back, everybody. Stand back.
Oh, Ben.
He's probably sleeping in there on a nice day like today.
Ben.
So we had a creek when we did, one thing I did, I had to reroute a creek a little bit. I maintained it, right? According to law, you can maintain your creeks. So I maintained my creek, and it now flows in a creek bed and doesn't, because it used to just come and just spill over this whole thing.
Oh yeah.
From beavers and trees coming down and everything just. So some of it, I know like the idea of regenerative farming is right to have as little man-made impact on the land and just kind of use nature to kind of restore and create a wealth in terms of land. Land can be just a devastation or it can be like a wealthy piece of land. And so some of it you do have to put in your own, like the own power of man has to go into this land to make it what it needs to be.
Yeah, that's
So
what
that the
God
rest
said.
of things can.
He said to Adam, go and cultivate and manage and have dominion over the land and all the animals. So
Yeah.
fixing a creek up was on his to-do list.
It was, yeah. And I felt holy in doing it, so that was good.
Well, righteousness is a good feeling to have.
It is. We running down the ridge.
I heard a twig snap. I'm just waiting.
On the YouTube video, there's this long countdown, like
Yeah.
there is a bull in there.
There's a bull. And then we can add effects of the trees. And
Clouds and wind. He's come all this way. You better give him a couple handfuls of grass.
Do they like dandelions? Come on, Ben.
Oh, the
Well, is there
flies.
anything else that you want to cover or share? Or
I don't. No, I mean that's probably it. I think, at least in this area of the world, farming. One of the main challenges you run into is just water, controlling water, making water go in productive places. And so, like this whole field runs off into the pasture. And so, you know, snow melt, storms, all of that stuff. So one of the things we're working on continually is just trying to get water in productive places. And that's something that I think a lot of farmers, well, maybe they have the good sense to buy highland. Maybe, but if they don't, then that's going to be something they've always got to figure out. And once you can get water doing what you want it to do, that's the hard part. With the cows, my wife said she wanted to sell 2 of them. And I said, babe, we can't sell 2 of them. We've got to have a herd of about 13 cows. She said, why 13 cows? I said, well, because you want to put 2 cows in our freezer every year. And we want Elliot to be able to sell 2 cows because it's his cow business.
yeah.
And so then we need a bull, and then we need 4 cows. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then if you raise them for 2 or 3 years, then you're going to have yearlings, you're going to have newborns, yearlings, and 2-year-old and whatnot. And so then you got 6, 7, 8 cows there. You're up to 14, 15 cows pretty quick just to sustain like a business for them.
Yeah. And that, folks, was some cow math.
Yeah, cow math. So you think like I'm going to get a cow. Well, think 15.
1 turns to 15 quick. Is this Ben? This is Ben. Hi, Ben.
It's mainly for
Oh, you got a nose ring too, Ben. What are the nose rings for? Just fashion?
Right?
He tries to pick up your hand with his horn and fling it out of it straight.
Does he?
Yeah.
He's got a personality on him.
Yeah. So the nose ring it's just a control point. So if you start getting crazy with the kids, I wanted the kids to have an option.
Yeah.
So he's really pretty docile. And these are Dexter cows. Dexters are the smallest full-size cows that you can get. They do great in wet areas. They're very hardy. They've got a lot of characteristics that are
Those ones,
favorable.
this one we raised, these ones we got from someone, so they're not as friendly as him.
Gotcha.
So they'll try to nick your hand with their horns, but he don't mind when you touch his head. They do.
That makes sense. It's a good insight.
You want friendly
Yep.
cows, raise them yourself.
Amen.
Yeah.
Especially on a Christ-filled farm.
Right.
All right, well, guys, this has been the Little Oxen Farm. Caleb Lang and his family are cultivating and setting the anvil forward on the path that we're all to follow as far as self-sufficiency and faith-filled management of land and bringing up our youth and our generations to get their hands dirty, to grow their own food, and to be able to work with livestock and provide. So thanks for watching. Is there anything else that you wanted to shout out, Caleb?
No, just, well, make the kids work.
Make the kids work. So from us to you, growing your fruits, and God bless you.
That's right.
Am I pronouncing your last name
No,
correctly?
we say Lang. Lang.
Lang.
More German. Lang.
Lang.
Lang,
Caleb
just French.
Lang. Got you.
Lang.
All right, let's get a full wide view. Come over here, brother,
Yeah.
and we'll do intro. Ready?
Clap.